Hi everyone and welcome to episode 1 of the YarnderWoman podcast. My name is Melinda, I'm your host and I am otherwise known as YarnderWoman. Today is Sunday the 20th of July and I am coming to you from Perth in Western Australia. Now Perth is got the dubious title of being the most isolated capital city in the world, and I guess that's one of the reasons I really love the online knitting community that I have come to enjoy through podcasts and Ravelry and Instagram. Where I live is probably about 40 or 50 minutes to the closest local yarn store, so I'm not very close to anything and it's really hard for me to get to any knit nights that might be around. I have had the good fortune of meeting a real knitting friend in Perth. That's Sherilyn. She has her own podcast and I'll put the notes up on the blog for the show notes so you can go and see her. But other than that, I don't have a lot of in-person knitting community, so I really am hoping to further my online knitting community through having this podcast, so I'd love to meet you further. So tomorrow is actually my birthday, so the podcast and I are going to have around the same birthday, so that's really exciting. And I'm not sure how often I'm going to be recording, perhaps every fortnight, perhaps every week, we'll see how we go. So if you've got any feedback about the timing or anything else to do with the podcast, I'd love to know, so do get in touch and all the details will be on the podcast website. Anyone who follows me on Instagram already, or if you come and follow me after seeing this, you'll see that I'm quite into wearing brooches. So a little session I'd like to have on my podcast is called Broaching the Subject, because I'm so funny. So today's brooch is this one, which I thought was quite an appropriate one to start with. A lovely little knitter girl. And this brooch is from the Etsy store Hannah Letters. This is Alina's card here. Alina does beautiful, beautiful brooches, all hand-stitched felt work. I've got quite a few of her brooches. So thank you, Alina, for such wonderful work, and I will put the details of her Etsy store at the end of the podcast as well, or on the website. More brooches to follow next time. Finished objects. I don't actually have anything that I've finished really recently. A couple of things that I've finished in the last couple of weeks were for presents, so I've already given those away. But I will talk about what I'm wearing today, which is an Age of Brass and Steam shawl. And this is knit in Fibre Nymph Dye Works, the bounce base, in the Roof is on Fire gradient. So this was all one skein of yarn. The red going to the black, going to the grey. And this is probably one of my favourite shawls because it really is handy to wear at work, where it can just sit on the shoulders and not get in the way. So that's a good one. I think the pattern originally called for either sport or DK weight, but this is a fingering. And it's one of those patterns where you can just keep repeating until you want to stop. So I just kept knitting till it ran out. And the colour change worked out really well. It just happened to colour change at the change in pattern, so it was meant to be. Works in progress. I have a lot of works in progress, so I won't show you all of them here. And a lot of them are hibernating, or as I like to call them, sleeping beauties. So the ones that I am working on at the moment, I have in my lovely Tangerine Designs bag. I'm sure everyone's heard of Tangerine Designs. And I love the inside fabric. It's like, I've gone blank what you call this fabric, the stitching, but anyway. So this is a project that I'm taking on the bus and train with me for my morning commute, or an afternoon. So this is the second one, and here's the completed hoe. This is the vanilla latte pattern, which is the basic vanilla sock with slip stitches, and that was put together by Emily O'Grady. It's Ooh Fancy Pants. And I really like it because I think it sort of makes it look like sound waves or something like that. So it makes it, a bit of interest for doing the knitting. And I used just a solid red for the heels so that I could keep going with the striped sequence. And I think I'm nearly up to the toe decreases on this second one. So hopefully those will be finished soon and they might be a finished object for next time. I did the Fish Lips Kiss heel on these. This is the best heel pattern I've ever tried. Of course, there are a lot of heel patterns I haven't tried, so I can't make a full judgment. But I haven't been knitting socks for very long. I think I had knit 2 or 3 pairs about 4 or so years ago, and never really got into it because I was doing a heel flap for those, and I hated picking up the stitches and the decreasing, and I always had holes, and I never really got it, and I could never understand why sock knitting was so popular. And then I tried the Fish Lips Kiss heel, and it's just changed everything. I love it now. I love it. And you know, if you love heel flaps, that's good luck to you. I'm not making any judgments, just for my personal sock knitting taste. Doing the Fish Lips Kiss heel has just been revolutionary for me, because you know, you're not picking up stitches, you're not changing the number of stitches, there's no holes. I just can't say enough good things about it. So if you haven't tried it yet, try it. Of course, it's not, may not be for you, but I think it's awesome. So that's those. The next thing I'm knitting is living in my Homespun House tea time bag. So I'm sure everyone has heard of the Homespun House podcast with Molly, and Molly also makes and sells some bags, and I believe at the moment she has a bag with this tea time fabric and maybe pink and red spots on the bottom. That was on her last episode. So if you like this fabric, she did have one available when she recorded. It may have already sold, so fingers crossed, good luck to you. I just love it, especially that one with the bird. And having this grey gingham, it looks like, to me, like an old tablecloth, so I just love it. So thank you, Molly, awesome. Now this is a shawl that I'm working on. It's the Dragonfly Wings shawl, and I've done all the stockinette section, and I need to go on to the lace part, so I'll try and show it because it's all sort of scrunched up on the needles. This is using Blue Moon Fibre Arts Socks That Rock in the lightweight in the Kiss colourway. So it's got dark and light grey and then gradient pink. And the pattern has you increase stitches on both sides, so it goes really, really skinny. And I think from there we do the lace. So this yarn was sent to me by someone that I have met through the online knitting community. So last year, the wonderful Mel from the Single Handed Knits podcast and blog had a buddy knit along. So you could sign up on the forum and people could find each other based on common interests or things they wanted to knit. And I was very fortunate to make friends with Jana, who's Jana Nav on Ravelry and Instagram. And we have really hit it off. We've stayed in touch since that knit along, and now we've decided to do our own personal buddy knit along. And Jana chose the pattern, the Dragonfly Wings, and the yarn and sent it to me, and so we're knitting it together, which I think is just lovely. It's really, really nice and special to know that we're doing the same thing. And once we finish this, I'll do the same to her. I'll choose some yarn and a pattern, send it over, and we'll do the same thing. So it makes it really special. So thank you, Jana, for that. I'm really enjoying the pattern. So this went quite quickly, and I think there's only about 18 rows of the lace, so it's going to be a relatively quick knit. Me and timing of knits, though, I always think it's going to be quicker than it is, and then I get annoyed at myself that I'm taking so long. But anyway, that's just me. So thank you, Jana, and hopefully next week I'll have the lace part to show you. Maybe finished. I don't want to jinx myself, but we'll see. Speaking of jinx, here's a segue. That is so funny. I'm knitting this next project with some jinx yarn. Now, I don't know if the sparkles are going to show up. There's some. There's stellina in this. So here's the label. It's Jinx Glit Sock, and the colour is Sea Salt Ice Cream, which I think is just so pretty. Now, I don't think I've ever knit with this colour before. It's sort of looking a little bit paler than it is. It's actually a bit more greeny blue. But anyway, it's very, very pretty. And as I said, I've never really knit with this colour before. But what I'm making is something for my little niece. who is 6. And this is the open knot cardigan for a little girl and a little dolly. So once I finish making the cardigan for my niece, I then make a teeny little itty bitty one for her favourite doll, which I think will be so cute. Now, the problem with this is I have vastly guessed my yardage requirements wrongly. So this is not going to be enough because I'm knitting double, so I'm knitting from the outside and the inside of the ball. So I've weighed it and I'm not going to have enough. But Laura from Jinx Yarn, who is not only an amazing dyer but is a lovely person, because I sent her a message saying I was going to run out, and she is vending at the SSK retreat, so I sent her a quick message saying, I know you're busy now, but I'd love to get in touch with you when you're less busy. And she sent me a message from SSK saying she would take one aside and put it away for me so it wouldn't get sold, so I could have the same dye lot. Thank you, Laura, so sweet. So I'm just knitting away on this, and then we'll just keep going till I run out, and then I'll wait for the second skein and just add on. I don't think I need to do too much more. So the way the pattern works is it's a free pattern on Ravelry, so I'm not giving anything away. You have your ribbing here, this really fun knotted pattern here, and then more ribbing at the end, and you sort of, it's not going to work because I haven't got the ribbing on, but you fold it over, so this is like across the back, and then you just make armholes with a hole on the side. That was a terrible explanation, but I will show you when I've got it more done. And the reason we chose this colour, as I was saying, I don't usually knit with this colour before, but it's to make, that's getting closer to the colour. It's supposed to be like Elsa from Frozen, so that's hence the sparkles is like the ice and the, so that's that. And this project is living in my Love Sock wool bag with the sort of tea time fairy tales. Gorgeous. Now, this third project is a very ongoing one. So this is actually another Love Sock wool bag. How gorgeous is this? It's vintage children's like clothing advertisement. So cool. Thank you, Sarah, for your awesome bags. Very, very cool. So this one, it's all tying in. You know, I had my silly jinx joke before. Now I can tie in back from my first project bag. Molly from a Homespun House, as I'm sure everyone's watching her podcast knows, she's knitting her Cozy Memories blanket, so the sock yarn blanket. Now, I had never wanted to make a sock yarn blanket. I thought they're awesome, the patchwork effect is brilliant, but our house is quite themed in terms of the colour, as you may be able to tell from the background. We like black and grey and red. And then I just one day had a great thought, why don't I do a sock yarn blanket in those colours? So I'm doing greys, blacks, reds and purples as well, because that's another colour I really like. So I'll show you what I've got so far. And let me just say, I am obsessed with this project. It's so addictive. To the point where sometimes I work on it and I feel guilty because I think, oh, I should be working on my other projects that need to get done, but I just can't stop. And then I chastise myself because I think, don't feel guilty, knit what you want to knit, you know? But anyway. So, this is what we've got so far. Now it's quite wide, so I'll just sort of go along. And as you can see, I got carried away here and then I decided to knit all the sides, so that's why it's quite skinny on one end. And I'm halfway through a square over here. The reason some of them have the white at the bottom is the pattern originally called for a provisional cast on. So I did that on a few of them because then you do an edging. But then I was listening to the Knitting Pipeline podcast, and Paula was saying if she did one again she wouldn't bother because you don't have provisional cast on for all the others, so it shouldn't make any difference. So if it's some of them you can see here, I haven't got one, I just cast on a full one. So, like I said, obsessed, and I just think it looks beautiful if I do say so myself. all these colours just make me so happy. It really does. It's a happy, happy project. And I've got one big one here, a quad. I haven't got any others because I don't want it to be in the same position further along the other side, so I'll just have them randomly. So this is my lovely, lovely blanket. And I'll show you the stitch marker that I use to mark the decrease section. Oh, he's stuck on the yarn. It's a little triceratops. So cute. Triceratops are my favourite dinosaur. And this stitch marker is from Vintage Rose. She does a lot of novelty stitch markers, like with little hangers. Favourite dinosaur, very cool. So I believe this yarn, sorry it's just rolled down, bear with me a moment. This yarn that I'm working on at the moment is by Irish Girl Yarns, I believe. Nice grey. Now, Molly on a Homespun House, her yarns are all memory yarns, so yarns that she's used for her projects, also yarns that some viewers have sent in. I've sent her some of mine. That's so exciting to see some of my yarn in another person's blanket. And I have got some yarns from some other people in my blanket. Julia, who's 9crafty11, she and I met on Instagram and did our own little yarn swaps. I sent her some of mine, so I've seen my yarn in her photos. That's also exciting. And I've got some of her lovely yarns. So these two here are some of Julia's. And this one. And this one. So thank you, Julia. It's very exciting to have other people's yarns in my blanket. It really does bring to the memories of it. Now, as I said, I'm not using each and every yarn that I go through because not everything's going to be in the right colours. So some of these yarns are yarns that I had leftovers of, some are yarns I just already had, and I have actually gone and bought some yarns to get more of the colours. And obviously there's no rules around it, but in terms of having memories associated, the memories I have with it so far are the fun of buying it and the fact that my mum bought me a lot of them. As I said, tomorrow's my birthday, but my mum's been very generous and has been buying me a whole lot of yarns leading up to now, just as early birthday presents, like not saying I have to wait for them, she's let me have them. Thanks, Mum. So having those memories, the fact my mum bought them, is really special because it's lovely to have part of my mum in this blanket. So more yarns to come. So I'll give you one last look, because I just want to look at it again because I love it. So yeah, that's an ongoing project, so I'll be showing you more of that as we go. And as I said, I have a lot of other works in progress, but that's all I'm actively working on at the moment, so we'll see if I get any of the Sleeping Beauties out of commission or if they come back again, we'll see. I haven't decided. So that's it for works in progress.